Good evening, all. We're live from San Antonio, Texas. Once again, it is September 14th, 2017. There are a lot of interesting things happening that I got wind of before I came on. Actually, earlier tonight, I should say. We talked about travel headaches yesterday. We got a bigger headache going on now. But for those of you that don't know, I'm Brian, live from San Antonio. You're listening to me on speakerstudio.com or on iHeartRadio or iTunes. You can catch me on Facebook, or you can catch me on demand or download this episode at www.speakerstudio.com/happeningnow. So make sure you tune in, and I want to thank the people in Bridgetown, Barbados for joining us last night. I hope they enjoyed the broadcast. And anybody else out there that wants to join, welcome aboard. We have an open show here. You're welcome to send me an email at bdhammond45@gmail.com anytime. I'll be glad to get back to you as soon as possible. As soon as I get another phone, we'll have call-in and we'll do live chats. Soon enough, I hope. But anyway, I'm sure you all heard your local news. Oh, and by the way, we want to say thank you to High Ridge, Missouri. You know, I have an awesome person over there, Diane. She listens every night with me. She wants to be a part of this. I just don't know how to get her a part of it. I'm not far away. But anyway, she is there. Hi, Diane, and anybody else that's listening out there. If you're in Facebook land, well, I hope you're enjoying yourself. But right now, tonight, I want to talk about what's happening right now. There's been a lot of talk about North Korea and Kim Jong-un, or whatever his name is. Anybody knows how to pronounce it, let me know so I know how to correctly pronounce it. Personally, I don't really want to learn his name, but, well, I might have to. But we do need to talk about this, guys. The things that are going on now, do they mean anything? Do they have any meaning whatsoever to our lives? To our well-being? Maybe to the future? Our next generation growing up? Let's ponder that for just a minute, because if North Korea is willing, even though the toughest sanctions ever imposed by any sitting president has been enforced by not only the United States, but Japan, and he is still willing to shoot missiles over to Japan. He was threatening Guam, just right off the coast of Guam. Now he's not just threatening, he's actually trying to do it, except he aimed it towards Japan. Lovely. I don't think this guy went to school very well. If he did, he doesn't get it, obviously. That's not a wise move. Now, I'm not advocating a war, but I have a feeling one is going to start real soon. But does that have any meaning? Do these hurricanes and these storms and all this devastation, does it have meaning? I don't know. Now, I know what I've learned, and I know what I wanted to talk about tonight, and we're going to touch base on a lot of things, but hopefully it will open the door to a conversation. I spent many years going to church. I spent many years studying the Bible, going to Bible studies, and I'm not here to push religion, but I am just understandably curious if these things that are taking place now, do they really have meaning? Do they mean something? Does that last book of the Bible actually know what's going to happen? Does it really predict our future? Or does it predict our future's future? I have to wonder. All the things that are going on, all the things that are happening. I mean, there are wars, and getting ready to start another one. We're not stretched out far enough. We need to be further stretched out. I don't know how far we can go with it, really. I mean, our military is only so big, I think. Of course, I never could enter the military because I'm blind in one eye. But they say I'm going to go blind in my other eye, but, well, I don't believe that for a second. And hopefully you don't believe that either. Look, I know you all out there probably don't think too much of me sometimes. But I am curious what this does mean. And if it does mean something, we better wake up and pay attention, people. Because if we don't, we're going to be sorry. Because one time we're slipping or not paying attention or not whatever it is, we're going to land up a victim. We're going to land up in a situation that we may or may not be able to get out of. We don't want to do that as parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, nephew, whatever you are. It doesn't make any difference. This is a time right now that we really need to pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention that if you're going to church right now, or you're studying the Bible, or you're doing anything, pay attention to what he's saying. Make sure you're following along. Make sure you're asking questions. Make sure you know, you understand, and most importantly, make sure beyond anything else that you're saved. That you know definitely where you're going to go if you pass away. Whether you pass away tonight, tomorrow, next week, next year, 10 years from now, makes no difference. If you don't do anything else, you better start praying. You better start saying a prayer, because if you can talk to your family, your friends, your boss, your coworkers, you can certainly pray. I do. I may not do it every day. I may not do it every night, but I do pray. Now, do I go to church all the time? No. Can't say that I do that all the time either. So, although I'm not a preacher, a pastor, a minister, or even a priest, but I can tell you one thing. I certainly am curious as to the things that are going on today, that have been going on for quite a while, are any signs of things to come. And are the things coming going to be worse than the things that are already happening? I am curious about that too. Very curious. So curious that now I want your opinion. Aren't you curious? What is really up? What's going on? Is all this talk about the book of Revelation true? Could it be the prediction of the future? Of things to come? Is it a fact that all these things that are happening, and all the times I've asked people to come together to say the same thing, that might be what we need to do in order to get off here before something really bad happens? I don't know about you people, but I don't want to be here when it happens. I really don't. But somehow I get the feeling, because I'm not that old, I'm old enough and young enough too, but either way, I don't know. Do I really want to be here to watch what's going to happen? Maybe I do. Maybe it would be learning. Maybe I'd be learning something. Then again, maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I know too much already. I don't know. Really don't. I've always been curious, though. There's been a lot going on. There's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of things. Storms, people getting killed. Just a lot of chaos. Chaos that I was kind of hoping would stop. But the problem is it really going to stop if we ask it to? Or is it going to continue? Because what I've heard in times past at church when I went, from the pastors I went to, and I've gone to many different churches, and they're all saying pretty much the same thing, closely, depending on the version of the Bible you have, or what you're reading or following along in. Everybody's different. Hey, I don't know. But I am understandably curious. If there's anybody out there that knows, I'd be interested to get your input. What do you think? I mean, we've already imposed sanctions. Obama did it for 8 years to North Korea, and it didn't make a dent in anything he tried to do or wanted to do. He's still doing it. He's just being more blunt about it now. The man needs to quit. How do we make him quit? Good question. I don't know. I do have my own personal opinions on it. Of course, they're my opinions. They're not the opinions of Speaker Studio. They're not the opinions of iHeartRadio or any other place that broadcasts my podcast here. I know that. But this is still this United States still has the right of freedom of speech. Now, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. Maybe you guys can. I don't know. Maybe. I'd like to think somebody knew this, because I am understandably curious. Of course, I never took the time to study the last book of the Bible, really. I do know some of it. I know some of it. I don't know enough, though. And somehow I get the feeling we all better start learning it. And we all better start reading Matthew again, because somewhere in Matthew, I think it's Matthew 23, it says something about all being in agreement and saying the same thing, just like I've been talking about in times past. And nobody really listened to it. You've got a very poor listening audience. And I don't understand why, because if you read your papers, you listen to your local news, your radio stations even, they're all talking about it. How can they not? This guy in North Korea has got to be the dumbest person in the world, I think. To shoot missiles at Japan. Although, Japan is more technologically apt than we are, or any other country in this world. And there are people who I figure are a lot smarter too. Because if we were a lot smarter, North Korea wouldn't be still doing this. They wouldn't have chemical weapons to shoot over here. They wouldn't have found a way to get it over here. Or to Japan, or to Guam. Wait till they do. One day it might happen. Because I have heard that the United States has got a lot more to worry about than Japan. Or Trump tweeting. Trump's an idiot, by the way. He needs to do something about all this. Sitting on your fist and leaning back on your thumbs is not going to work. Okay? It really isn't. Now, I realize he can only do so much. Just like this talk about him making agreements with Democrats and working across the aisle. Is he really working across the aisle? Or is he trying to blow his own horn? I don't know. I do know one thing. He did tour Florida today. He did declare it a national disaster area. I got to give him credit. He did have a heart, and he spoke from his heart when he was talking about these storms on the coast of Texas and in Florida. I got to give him credit. I got to give him credit that he's done everything he said he would do, and the help is there, and the funds are going to become available. Congress is already going to do it, and they will do it. That I'm sure of. Like I said, people, help is on the way. Help is coming. We will help Florida restore. Our most important thing right now is North Korea. What in the heck is he up to? And how long will it be before he actually accomplishes his mission? That's what I'm curious about, people. I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get it. This guy's got to be dumb. The strongest, most toughest sanctions have been imposed to this man, to this country, by any sitting president that I've ever known. And there's only been 45 sitting presidents so far, and that is counting Donald Trump. So, if these sanctions are so tough, and they're the harshest that's ever been imposed by any sitting president, then how in the world is he still operating? They must not be that tough. What do you think? Yeah, I'm probably not getting many listeners tonight, and I probably won't get many, and that's fine. But you might want to stop and think about this, guys, because this is serious. Is this going to affect us, or is this going to affect the generation coming up? The generation that's in school, people. Look, I am not here to preach, and I am not here to tell you what to do or how to live or what to believe. Look it up for yourself. Watch your local news. Read your newspapers. Talk to your friends, your family, your coworkers. Find out what they know. If you do go to church, ask questions. It won't hurt. Get some answers, because I'd certainly like to know. I would. I would definitely like to know what it means. Does it have anything to do with the book of Revelations or any part of the Bible? I mean, I don't know. I do know one thing, though. Better wake up and pay attention, people. Because if we don't, and we're not, and we all can't come together and say the same thing and be in agreement, and we can't stop our communities from being violent, we can't stop people from taking matters into their own hands, then we're going to have chaos all the time. We will have chaos all the time because nobody wants to say the same thing and believe the same way. Although we all want the same thing, we want a better country. We want the United States to be better again. We want everything to be good. We can't get it good, though, because of that idiot in North Korea. And then we got ISIS, and we got all these people. I don't understand it. You know, I've talked about travel headaches. You know what another travel headache is? TSA. Those people that do the security before you get on an airline or before you even get to your gate.